Everybody, welcome back to Spitballin Cards. Today we're going to talk about the biggest sports card sale in history and what that might mean for the broader sports card market. Along with me, Jeff, we've got Filmington here, Chris, baseball card addict, and Teapot down in the lower right-hand corner. He didn't choose his nicknames. Nicknames have just been thrust upon him. So, the biggest sale in history. Ty, tell us about it.
So we've got a record-breaking $12.932 million. This is the 2007 Upper Deck Exquisite Collection. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, dual on-card auto, one of one, dual Logoman, all the things. Let me pull up the picture and a couple of articles that are relevant and worth checking out if you want to read more about this specific sale. But this one's been out there for a month. We went with Heritage Auctions, and we kind of saw it ticking up. Is it going to be the most expensive basketball card, of all time, the most expensive sports card of all time? And it broke all the records. What makes this card significant is that this is the only dual one-of-one Logoman auto of these two guys. There are others with Jordan and LeBron and Kobe and LeBron and others, but this is it. And you have this special gold Logoman on here of Jordan. So a couple articles over on Collect. This one from Darren Ravel talking about the fact that Kevin O'Leary, who many of you will know from Shark Tank and maybe other things, bought the card with Shine 150, aka Matt Allen and Paul Warshaw. And then there is another article that you can read from Ben Burrows that's a little bit more into this card and kind of what the card is all about. So big sale, noteworthy. I know a lot of our viewers have been talking about how they don't really care about these big sales. It's not a card any of us was, certainly bidding on. And that's definitely understandable, but newsworthy in the very least.
Yeah, it's still bringing the hobby into the mainstream news, which doesn't happen too often. So it feels like it's worth discussing. Obviously, this card has a built-in scarcity factor because sadly, Kobe's no longer with us. So the worry about there being future cards just like this, that's not there for this one. So I think that's really what made this one stand apart. But does it mean anything for the broader market, for the markets that we actually do purchase cards in this group and the people watching the channel? Does this sale mean anything for those groups? Phil, what do you think?
Yeah, so Chris, House of Jordans, I was listening to his podcast for a little bit, and he was breaking down what this means and also how it kind of relates to other really important Michael Jordan one-of-one cards. And he was trying to be as fair as possible and objective in his analysis, even though, he collects Michael Jordan cards. So I think ultimately this is good for him. This was a card that a lot of people didn't know existed. And it's very unique, and a lot of people in the hobby love, obviously, Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant is right up there with LeBron with regards to likability, maybe even higher. I think this sale in itself, it kind of stands out a bit as an outlier, but ultimately it's what two parties are willing to pay. He makes a point about, and I think this is before the Kevin O'Leary news surfaced, that it would mean a bit more if this was purchased by a collector or a person that wants his identity to remain anonymous versus pushing this as somewhat of a pumping opportunity. Yeah, I bought it and I feel really positive about it. And I'm the guy that also owns this other stuff too, and I'm never selling. So I'd say based on the identity being revealed that it's a buying group with a lot of money behind it, with mostly financial means, the motivation here, I would say that that's a negative. I would also agree that this means that the primary or direct first order impact that this has on all other cards in this hobby is very, very minimal. But this is the highest card ever. Little strange that it topped the mantle by just a little bit. Isn't that a little strange? Do you think they wanted it to be the highest ever so they could, he could do his whole CNBC interview and be all-time sale. So you wonder about the other bidding activity. But you also wonder, and Chris had brought up this, you also wonder how much that buying group was willing to pay, right? Because it doesn't show their max bid. How high were they willing to go? So I think that the secondary effect on the hobby or second order effect, I think will be more eyes, more folks that weren't engaged with the hobby, maybe haven't had a chance to find their collection, even if they, somehow missed 2020. I think a lot of folks, and Chris had said this, like probably did have a chance to rediscover their collection during that time when they were locked up at home, but there could be other folks going back to their collection, being interested. There could be a lot of whales out there with money that are seeing this possibly as an alternative asset class for him to just like be on an island saying that, listen, this is like a great investment opportunity. I think a lot of that is probably the businesses behind it and not the cards themselves. But hey, look, he just invested in a card. So maybe this is part of his investment. I would think, based on us seeing pictures of him over the last few years surfacing, that most of his bags are already packed, though. So just be cognizant of that. I don't think he's going to be making most of his investments at the top of the market, or what he thinks could be the top of the market, which could be coming soon if it's not here already.
Chris, what do you think about this, especially as a non-basketball collector? This had to probably surprise you.
It did. And I asked a couple questions about what exactly this card was. I do know who Kevin O'Leary is, so there's that. I get it. Like, it's cool. I think I really enjoy the fact that the highest selling sports card of all time is a PSA 6. I like that. I think that maybe could shine a bit of a light on the over importance of a PSA 10 right now.
Good point.
In a lot of places.
Shine 150.
Yeah, but it's a very cool card. I get it. Like, they might not be the two best basketball players ever, but they're arguably the two most famous and most like beloved by their fan bases, for sure. I mean, Jeff and I live in Los Angeles. Kobe Bryant is the number one basketball player talked about here. When Burbank Sports Cards gets any of his stuff, it's number one thing on their on all their reels, and then it's usually done within 24 hours. But yeah, I don't know. I saw that news. I'm like, huh, and then that's pretty much like. I don't think this news affects any card that I would have interest or ability to purchase.
Yeah, well, that's good. Let's bring the conversation back to it affecting the cards that we might buy or that our viewers might buy, because we talked about some higher end cards, not even this high end, but higher end cards in a recent video, and a lot of people commented that it was hard to relate to something like that. So.
Yeah.
Back to the cards that maybe more of us can relate to. Will it have an effect? What do you think, Ty?
Let me kind of just weigh in on this idea, right? So, our buddy Bill, aka Ephus Pitch, maybe FKA Ephus Pitch, currently known as Stitchy McPherson on Instagram, posted on his story on Sunday that just because this card sale happened doesn't mean all of your cards are going to the moon. Cage posted a similar thing. I posted a playful, somewhat snarky response to that. Like, obviously, like, why do we need to say that? Really? Like, who thinks that? I don't know that anybody thinks that. I don't know why we need to warn people against something that's obvious. This is a one-off, like Apex card that doesn't surface ever. Like, it literally never has. And so it went for a crazy price. So overall, no impact. Cage put it as a comparison of like a beachfront house in Malibu compared to your like split level in New Jersey, and that those things don't affect each other. 100% true, fully acknowledged, still newsworthy. I will say there's some like interesting aspects to it though, like not to the everyday card, not to the commodity card, not to the accessible cards that are $100 and below, which is by far and away 95% of the volume that happens on eBay every day in most marketplaces. There are some other cards that are being impacted kind of in the chase space of like 90s, to where this sale is somewhat of a lagging indicator of just like what's been going on in that quadrant of investment pieces. And it's also maybe a leading indicator of things to come in that space. So if you are one of our viewers who watches in that space of like, let's say 4-figure and up cards, then I think there is kind of a word of caution. Just nobody knows. Nobody knows right now where the ceiling is. I've had to hold back from hitting the bid button on some things, some personal like grail type pieces that I've been chasing after recently and missing, unfortunately, because I don't want to like push up into a space that makes me uncomfortable. So there is some movement overall that we talked about recently. Just point of awareness on that. In the rest of the space with kind of the like everyman market, we track, sorry, let me, here we go. Okay. So we track different indexes and market movers, tons and tons and tons, player indexes and all kinds of set indexes and all things. So we have our Sports Card Investor SCI 500 that we update every year. So this is the 2025, and this has, yes, you see like 26,000, but then there's also stuff that is all the way down in the like $64 range. So this is meant to be like a representation of the hobby overall. 500 of the most iconic, important cards from all eras, where you see the lowest possible grade of a Mantle 52 down to Caitlin Clark on a WNBA card. So that index. I'm looking at the last 90 days, even if, let's say, we want to look at 180 days and see what that's been doing over time. That's actually up 15% for the year. So like the whole space of cards distributed is moving. And then what I have here is like baseball from 2021 to 23, 2018 to 2020, and 2010 to 2017 kind of parsed out by different eras and by the corresponding sport. And you can see this is up 7.4%. This is up 6%. What's really interesting to me is the 2018 to 2020, because there's a one Shohei Ohtani in there who we know has been doing pretty well. It just so happens that the rest of that era, not necessarily doing as much in terms of price appreciation, to where if I were to look at like the card that's gone up the most, it's Ohtani, but then there's a whole bunch of players who are down. Soto, Witt, Rutschman, Jason Dominguez, and others are all down over the last 6 months. So kind of interesting to be able to come in here and look at a macro view of different sports, different eras, as well as just the hobby overall with that SCI 500.
Nice.
It's interesting to see that Jason Dominguez's cards are down so much that it's offsetting Ohtani's cards being
a
up.
lot more. It's just like the volume of a lot more of those players, right? And so
Volpe's in there too.
It shows that the you can't just look, even when you look at a market index, you can't look at it as a broad representation of what's going on in the market. Even though it's an index, there's a lot that goes into it, and one guy can't carry it all. Yep. Phil, you wanted to talk about some other indexes?
Yeah. And before I even get into that, if somebody pulled me aside in an alleyway, right? We have to be careful what we say because we've got a lot of viewers and we don't want to be perceived as pumping the market or giving bad advice, right? But if somebody pulled me aside in the alleyway, one of my friends hey, bro, I just got back into cards yesterday and I saw this like eye-popping headline with this record-breaking sale. Like, what does this mean? Does this mean anything for other cards? I might give a slightly different answer with like less hedging language. And I might say, well, one of ones of like GOAT-like players, non-modern players, this could have some effect on like the perception of patch cards, rookie patch auto cards that could stretch beyond Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. This could also have an effect on the Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, like upper high-end market too. If you don't play in this market, maybe you aspire to, maybe it's just way out of your means and you're just more likely to just collect cards casually or whatever. If this is a financial thing to you, and if there is some sort of driver or motivator, and if you do fall in like the, I'd say, majority or loud minority that grading is really subjective and it's a scam, look at this card that was a PSA 6 that just sold for in excess of $12 million. Like, not saying that grading will ever not matter and the grade doesn't matter, but try to seek out cards if you think grading is a bunch of BS at the end of the day, like I think a lot of us kind of do based on the subjective and inconsistency that we've seen. Then try to find a card where like the grade is like the third or fourth most important attribute about that card. So, and this would be a perfect example. A lot of people looked at this and be like, oh, PSA 6, like it didn't deserve to go for that much. The grade didn't really matter for this card.
Just on that note, before you go further, the fact that it was in the holder, that's what everybody wanted to see, that it's certified as being authentic. And you're right, the grade didn't matter at all. So that is it. Chris alluded to that earlier too. It is nice to see, for not that we're anti-grading, but for the anti-grading people, it must be nice to see, but also for those of us who think of grading as a secondary level of importance for a lot of our cards, it is nice to see that the 6 doesn't matter.
All right, so I'm gonna share some stuff similar to what Ty had shown. showing some of the card ladder indices. So we referenced these in our episode last week, the episode about like, is this a bubble? Talking about the reflecting on the current bull market and really discussing whether or not it's sustainable, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, I made a comment and I think Ty had backed it, and Ty already showed some data already. This is the card ladder indexes that I'm showing here. There's a number of different indexes. Here's baseball. As you can see here, it's comprised of close to 15,000 cards. Probably every baseball card in their sort of database is, I'm guessing, comprises this. It's up 14% over a year. And if you dig into the cards, like it's a lot of vintage stuff. It's a lot of high graded stuff. You can actually sort it based on value. There's some cards here, like look, this Mickey Mantle $11 million card is in here. There's a lot of high value stuff. There's also a lot of low value stuff in this index. And it kind of makes me think, like, again, some 19-cent cards in here. It's really everything. So it's hard to like gauge where did this even come from. And like, if you were to make your own index based on this, it would be hard to kind of reproduce this and start to subtract cards and build out something that's similar to see like where all the gains are coming from. There are other indexes they have that have fewer cards, but something you have to keep in mind is that indexes are usually, I don't know if this one is, but indexes are usually market value weighted. So think of the S&P 500 in stocks, and the top 10 companies, that's the top 2% of companies that comprise that index in market cap, actually account for close to 40% of the total market value. So if Nvidia moves, Tesla moves, and Apple move all at the same time, like S&P is probably going to highly correlate with that move. So you have to be careful with that. And when we were making statements about like, yeah, there's a bubble, like everything's going nuts, even look at these indexes that are comprised of so many cards. There's a good chance that these are being calculated by looking at like the ending value for that time period minus the beginning value, and then taking that and dividing it by the beginning value. It's not looking at all of the percentage movements of those 1,500 cards and then taking an average of all those percentage movements. Like that would be an equal weighted index, I think. I don't think that that's the right way to create an index per se. But like the other way is also misleading when you have Ohtani and Judge and Mantle like really contributing to most of the movements, whether up or down. So, and if you dive into some of these other ones too, they've got like this modern index. Oh, did I already show that one, or did I show the baseball index? But this one's also 15,000 cards. This one's up, is that 30%? So if you dive into the specific cards, this is actually between 1984 and 2008. So it's not capturing a ton of active players from here. And you've got non-sports in here as well. So you really have to understand like what's in these indexes. You've got some really expensive like Pokemon cards. You've got MGs in here. All right. So you guys are probably curious about like, well, what's like the ultra modern index then? Because that's got to be stuff like that would, you know, capture my Pete Alonso and Bo Bichette's, because that's even up 9% over the last year. Well, turns out that this is for cards that are released 2009 and later. So grading companies would call ultra modern 2018 plus. That's how they would categorize that. This also has Magic. Like this one of one ring card is in here. So the one of one's in here. It's not all high value stuff. Again, there's a lot of cheap stuff in here. It's like everything in their database. So it's really hard to tell like where a lot of this growth is coming from. But then, okay, then if you go to what is called their low end index, which is here somewhere, that is only up 1.5% over last year. Like, okay, what's in there? Well, this is all cards whose last sale was less than $500. 38,000 cards. This is going to be what most people are buying. Most of our viewers are probably in this range for cards. And you'll see a bunch of cards you don't care about, but those Pete Alonsos, the Bobby Witts, the J-Rods, the Francisco Lindors, the Nolan Arenados, that's going to be a lot of this stuff. So a lot of people that are saying like, what bubble, what bull market? Well, turns out that a lot of what you're buying is probably in that one index and probably not well reflected, even if it is covered in some of these other ones.
And
so,
Phil, that low end, so it's cards that what the sale was under 100. Is that what you said?
500 and under. So even that is
so
skewed up.
It could be motivated. It could be even less than that. If Ohtani and Judge could be holding that up with their lower end sales going up. Yeah, interesting.
Hmm.
Chris, what do you think about what the guys have talked about? So if this big sale, if we can't extrapolate anything for the broader market from this big sale, and even if we look at these market indexes, which seem to show a bull market, we can't extrapolate anything for the wider hobby from those. What are we left with?
I don't know. I zoned out pretty hard like 5 minutes ago, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. My main question with that, the last index that Phil was showing, that card on the top, it said last sale was 1 cent. Where is that selling? Like what auction house, like what listing?
I think
Where
a
is
lot
a
of
card
eBay ones end at a cent.
being
Chris.
tracked for a cent? I'm just curious. Like that's just a general question.
Yeah, a lot of them just end at a cent, and then you just are paying for the shipping or whatever.
Oof, yeah, like $19.99 shipping, $20 card. I don't know. I like the idea that sale and Kevin O'Leary, like that might draw eyes to the hobby, but I think that the worlds that, well, I'll say Ty and I generally live in, probably will be untouched by most of that hobby news.
What about the hero world?
What you need is Hira to do something heroic, and then I like your chances with that Hira box.
All right. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Sorry, here's another one. Here's a high pop index. So you might be like, all right, this might be representative of the cards I have. Well, this is pop counts of 200 and greater. I was hoping it would be like 1,000 and greater.
That's not high.
Yeah. 200 is not high pop.
Yeah, so that's up 24%.
201 is high pop.
Right.
Does Card Ladder show anything going down?
They do.
Ever?
Rising, baby.
There's some stuff. It's actually fascinating. So Pokemon's actually up 65%. So that makes sense. And that captures, I think, every Pokemon card in the database. They have one that's an outlier index. It's like if you're not already in an index, you're 2%. But you've got some stuff that was pumped a lot last year. UFC, MMA. People have moved on from that to, I think, wrestling, maybe. Okay. Racing is also one that I guess blew up a little bit later than the rest of the sports during that like 2021 through 2023 period. F1 got a pump like after a lot of that stuff, and Marvel was getting smoked. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, Marvel needs better movies if they want their cards to do better. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good correlation there.
Yeah, well, the volume of all those going down is probably eclipsed by the one high pop chart above it. Right? So yeah, to your point, there's not a lot going down on the card ladder. All right, so if we can't really extrapolate anything from those giant sales for the rest of the market, let's talk about some sales that might have more of an impact on the things that we buy and look at. So I believe Chris has a few that he wants to pull up for us to discuss.
Yeah, in the shadow of that massive sale, there was some cool stuff that ended on eBay this weekend. And a lot of this stuff is more fun, more affordable, and to me, honestly, more interesting and more acquirable. So let's take a quick look through some of these. Here's the first one. It is I was watching this card for a week. It's a second year flagship Aaron Judge and the purple Meyer parallel. These are like really hard to grade. And he's got the rookie cup, the future star logo, nice hitting image. It is card number 1 for those of you who like that stuff. It's a pop 8 at PSA. This was up for bids. And if I had any money in my PayPal account, I would have been very, very happy to bid on this because it just went for $177.
Wow. I got to say, the purple looks good with that 2018 parallel design.
Yeah, 2018 parallels are probably the best flagship parallels we've ever gotten and may ever get, possibly outside of the diamonds in 2011. Those are kind of a one-off. But yeah, that's just that's an awesome card, and congrats to whoever won it. Yeah,
great buy.
I'm inadvertently sticking with a Yankee theme here, so Phil, I apologize, but I'm a big fan of the 2011 Topps and Topps Chrome set. I like the design, I like the images. Obviously, Freeman's rookie probably is why, but here's Derek Jeter's red refractor. Yeah, numbered out of 25. Every single gold, red, all these parallels for Jeter are off-centered. I don't know why Topps didn't feel like putting effort into it, but that's something I think we've all gotten used to over time. But this was also up for bids. I think this is a really great card, and it went for under $250. I was pretty surprised. I think the centering may have turned some people off.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty reasonable price for a an all-time Yankee great from a really well-revered set.
Yeah. All right. I know Phil hates the Yankees. Phil, of these two cards, which would you rather buy?
I actually like the Toys R Us one, or Meyer purple, whatever you call it. I thought it would have went for a lot more.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of bummed I didn't do that
deal too, but it's a little too OC for me. And the Reds, number to 25. Get them away from my face. I don't want them.
Confusing.
All right, fair enough. Okay, all right. Here's one that I think Ty will appreciate along with me. This is just a 20. I believe this is a 2021 Stadium Club auto of Keith Hernandez. This is a pretty. I've seen this photo in some 16 by 20s at shows. This is just. It's cool. I mean, we basically see like the three biggest stars of those 80s Mets teams that were really fun, especially if you like the Mets. But this is awesome. On card auto. I love cards like this. Ty, do you have one of these? I know you're also a Stadium Club fan.
Do not.
No.
Pretty cool though.
Right?
Really cool.
All right. It's 2022. Damn it. I hate
The jerseys in the back.
Yeah.
Strawberry and yeah.
Strawberry and Gooden. I mean, I feel like we're not advocating recreational use of powdery type substances, but if you are into that, this might be the perfect card to do that off of.
Yeah. So also not recommending recreational fandom of the Mets, but if you happen to have that loyalty, then this is pretty cool.
Yeah, totally
Under
fair.
$60.
Yeah, under $60. Yeah, definitely two symptoms of mental illness. Okay, all right. I want to talk about this guy for just a minute. Pete Crow Armstrong has not played well since the calendar flipped over to August, and I don't think he really was doing much in July either.
Yeah.
So this is his Topps Chrome base rookie auto, and this one just went up for bids. Two of these actually sold in the last week or so. Where do you guys think this card's sitting at right now?
Kind of a rough time to sell them.
Yeah, I think these are people who are just now they no longer believe. They're just trying to get out of it, maybe.
One between 187 to 228.
That's funny. The initial number that came to mind to me was 228, and then I was like, well, I should probably drop 30%. So I probably would have just said the exact same number as Phil.
Yeah, right. I was thinking 150, but
look at you guys. And whoever said 228, I think two of you, you're pretty much right there.
That's legitimately the number I was going to say. That's crazy.
So now how much has that changed since July?
For that, I think you're going to have to, we're going to have to ask Ty to pull up the chart.
Lucky we've got an expert here because that I would like to know.
Yeah.
When we're speaking about price fluctuations on ultra modern cards, he's got to be.
That card was
MVP candidate for the first 3 months.
Peaked out at not that much higher than that, 318 raw.
Okay.
July 12 was the peak moment at 318 raw. So that's where that one was.
About 25% down.
Yeah. So it hasn't.
I would have thought
market hasn't chilled out that much on him. His PSA 10, honestly, is kind of hovering flat over the last 30 days. So
people are still holding. Probably
they're holding. People are holding because they're like, yeah, I'm not going to panic. I like this guy.
Right. He actually had his best month in July with regards to WRC Plus at 169. So he didn't slow down until August. Till after he made that.
Okay, August. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he had a pretty horrific stretch that ended my playoff aspirations in fantasy, but he's got bigger problems, obviously. About that. Okay. We talked about low end. I'm going to show a card that's about as low end as it gets. In Topps Chrome this year, they did 50 image variations, which I know we have touched on. Unfortunately, a lot of them are really lackluster, to say the least, including this Jordan. The eyes are, once again, they're soul piercing. But what do we think? This is just his base image variation. Anyone want to take a guess what this recently sold for?
Is he holding up the hand that's been broken?
That he didn't know was broken because X-rays don't exist in Houston? Yeah, I don't know.
$18.
$3.
All right.
I would say $20.
One of you is exactly right. And not the one you think.
$3.
Wow.
Wow.
Phil was typing that in as we were
No,
Good job,
I
Phil.
wasn't.
Yeah.
I can't believe this card was on.
Wait,
board.
how
Yeah,
much
Phil,
does it say for shipping
It was
on there?
$11 shipping, $10 shipping. So
No
technically,
wonder.
Oh, geez, I was
that's a seed
idiot.
pack. It's a China buy. That's why it's so cheap. China buy.
$10. Come on.
So really, with taxes and tariffs, I was right. $18.
Yeah, that's
No, it's
right.
probably you throw tariffs in there. I mean, I think they're like what 300%. You're looking at a $45 card now.
Mm.
But
Yeah. How do you put that into market movers?
Yeah. Well, funny enough, we were just talking about that today. Unfortunately, eBay does not make shipping and taxes available in their API or anywhere on their site to know for sure what somebody paid for something. So
That's a huge difference for some low end cards.
for low end cards, it makes a bit. That's why when you look at price movements on low stuff, you can have the same card that sold for $1 with $6 shipping or $6 with free shipping, and it looks like a 600% price increase, 500% price increase.
Right.
But yeah, it's frustrating.
interesting. Yeah, that is frustrating. All right,
Yeah.
last one out of 2025 Topps Chrome that I want to talk about.
That's-
This is one of their image variations that got some traction right away. People liked it. This is right after Ohtani hit that 3-run home run off Dylan Cease. Dodger fans will tell you that swing maybe it saved their postseason. But kind of a cool card. I wish they would have zoomed out more so we could really see.
make it a wide shot.
Yeah, let us see what was happening and see the crowd reaction.
I don't mind it.
But
I don't mind it either, but could have been.
Yeah.
Great.
So anyway, this is his base image variation. What do you guys think this one went for?
How many of these are there? What were the pack odds on these roughly? Do you know?
I don't know the number. I've seen people on Blowout talk about. They think approximately like 1,000 of each card, but then there are parallels.
I'm gonna
All right,
guess.
before I guess, tell me how much shipping was on this card. $80.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to. Let's just include shipping in your guess, please.
Okay. I would say $150.
Yeah, I was gonna. No, go ahead, Phil. Well, he looked like he was going to say something.
468.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'll just go with my gut, and I was going to say 200.
Okay. All right. You guys are all over.
Okay. I almost dropped it to like 110. Wow, that's cheaper than I thought.
Yeah, I almost dropped it to 90.
I mean, wow. Well, I'm glad Phil didn't bid because this would have absolutely set his personal record for percentage over a sale
That's
price.
true.
Actually, 139 with shipping and taxes, $100.39.
I feel like this is kind of indicative of where Topps Chrome in 2025 is heading. Like if you bought a hobby box and you pulled Shohei Ohtani's image variation of him celebrating a postseason home run, you would think I won this hobby box,
And it doesn't even cover the cost.
not
Wow.
even half your hobby box. So this one's a little bit rough. I as an image variation guy, I don't love a lot of these cards, and I'm not thrilled that we're getting the exact same 50 in Logo Fractor, and we're going to get the exact same 50 again in Sapphire. It looks like so. If you like this image, I think the longer you wait, the cheaper this card's going to get as more and more flood the market.
So what about that bull market we were just talking about?
Seems like a bunch of bull.
Yeah, maybe Topps Chrome.
I've got one. I got one card to show that
Okay.
just for Chris. So
Oh, great. Yeah, unless Kevin O'Leary wants to buy this card, I don't think that the the value of this one is headed to the moon.
this one's for you, Chris. This one's just for you.
There we go.
Could have had an Aaron Judge, Topps Holiday,
Oh yeah.
SSP with the Christmas lights around his neck for $32.40. Or
I'll be honest, I
Wow.
don't hate that card at all.
$32.60.
Christmas
That's
lights
pretty
around the
cheap.
neck, I like it. I think that's
Some of
cool.
these, I think some of these are fun for the price point, personally.
Yeah, for that price.
Especially if you're a player collector or a team, like having the different ones over the years, because they do actually change the designs from year to year on them. I think they're pretty fun. But
I bet Phil likes that one. I know he recently purchased a Christmas themed Juan Soto card.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
yeah, I like that card, but only in a PSA 10. If that's a PSA 6, I mean, there's just no interest over here.
$30 for PSA 10 is pretty accessible. Pretty nice.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, any final thoughts about this purchase? Do we see this record standing for a long time? Obviously, if we see one of those mantle PSA 10s, what is that, a pop 3? One of those would go up for sale. That would eclipse it. But what's the next card to beat this record? No thoughts.
I don't know. Like, I didn't even know that card existed.
Right.
So, like, I don't know what else doesn't exist. The interesting part about this is when we talk about record-breaking baseball sales, it's vintage. When we talk about record-breaking basketball and football sales, it's modern, right? So, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, Mike Trout had a big sale. So his 1-of-1 Bowman Chrome Auto Superfactor didn't do like 4 million.
Yes.
Yes.
So Otani's got 2. That kind of hurts. But I feel like the hitting one could do pretty big numbers. It's all about somebody or some entity trying to make a statement, right? At the end of the day. So
And like you said before, two or more parties going after it, and that thing could skyrocket.
yeah.
Have any of the PSA 10 mantles, like there's a couple, right? Have any of them ever come up for auction?
There's
Just
3, and no.
No.
Yeah.
I've heard estimates of $40 to $50 million on those.
If one of them were to go to public auction, all bets are off. It's crazy.
Do we know?
Well, I was just gonna say, I always wonder, like with this, whether it's this, Kobe Jordan or any of these big sales, like the point of curiosity for me is just always like, how many bidders were in the action up until like the last, hour or so, or whatever that looks like. Like, was it just 2, or was it like 5 people all trying to go after it?
Right.
Or 50? I don't know. Like the auction houses don't. You can see it on eBay, right? Like when it's down to the moment, like how many different people were bidding, but unfortunately, we don't get to see that. So I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see. We will stay tuned to see if there's a new record-breaking sale anytime soon, and we'll see if these buying groups start making themselves more popular as well. It seems like a way to get publicity and to share the risk and cost at that point.
Until then, buy low-end cards.
Yeah, that's kind of like what Jeff and I do, but on steroids.
Yeah.
Financial
We do it.
steroids.
We're on steroids while we do it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm on prednisone for my cough.
Oh, there you go.
Ties the one person on the screen using steroids. Failed the test.
All right, do we have time for a quick Patreon shout out?
Yes. Thank you to all of those who have been supporting the channel through our Patreon. We've got a lot of good episodes on there, a backlog of them, and a really good episode this week where Phil talks a little bit about his buying philosophy. So check that out if you haven't. Chris wanted to give a quick shout out to a pickup from one of our Patreons.
Yes, there, as always, in our Patreon pickups chat, there's some really cool stuff. I just wanted to shout out this one from Brian Hurlbert, who is a name I literally have been practicing in my head for the last 5 minutes, so I say it
Well
right.
done.
This is just a gorgeous Stadium Club gold minted Nolan Ryan, awesome action shot, and this is the kind of stuff I particularly love to see collectors grab, just because it looks great.
Yeah, horizontal shot. In action, you see the ball going, the very distinctive Nolan Ryan follow through. Great card.
I also feel like that ball might be ticketed for the player's chin.
For his forehead.
The batter's chin. That's kind of, I'm seeing some chin music here. I like this card a lot. So, Brian, that's an awesome pickup, and thank you for sharing. Please keep those coming.
Absolutely. Keep posting your pickups. All right. Thanks, everybody. That's all we've got for you this week. But check out the site if you want to look at any of our older videos. We've posted a lot recently about this topic, about the bull market topic and whether it's a bubble. So please check those out and let us know down in the comments what you think. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
See ya.